Hey there, I still can't believe a legend has passed. But instead of being sad, we'll remember Chuck Norris the way he wanted. Through his funniest and most epic quotes. Get ready to laugh and be amazed at 10 of his legendary sayings. 1. This quote is a classic Chuck Norris joke built on exaggeration and humor. It playfully suggests that Chuck Norris is so powerful and alert that he doesn't need sleep like a normal person. Instead, he's always ready, always aware, and simply waiting. The humor comes from turning an ordinary human need, sleep, into something extraordinary and almost mythical. In these jokes, Chuck Norris is portrayed as unstoppable, invincible, and beyond normal human limits. In essence, the quote isn't meant to be taken literally. It's part of a popular internet meme style that celebrates strength and toughness through absurd, over-the-top statements. 2. This quote is part of the famous Chuck Norris jokes, which use absurd exaggeration to portray him as all-powerful. In mathematics, dividing by zero is impossible and undefined. It simply cannot be done. The humor comes from the idea that Chuck Norris is so extraordinary that he can break even the fundamental laws of mathematics. It's a playful way of saying that nothing is impossible for him, not even something that logic and science completely forbid. In essence, the joke highlights an exaggerated, almost mythical image of Chuck Norris, where he surpasses normal limits and rules. The fun lies in how ridiculous and over-the-top the statement is. 3. This quote is another classic Chuck Norris joke, built on extreme exaggeration to highlight his superhuman strength. Normally, during push-ups, a person lifts their body up from the ground. But the joke flips this idea, suggesting that Chuck Norris is so incredibly strong that instead of lifting himself, he actually pushes the entire earth downward. The humor comes from this impossible reversal of reality. It plays with physics and common sense, turning a simple exercise into something cosmic and absurd. By exaggerating his strength to such an extreme level, the joke creates a larger-than-life image of Chuck Norris as someone who defies natural laws. In essence, the joke is meant to be playful and entertaining, showing how these memes transform an ordinary action into something legendary and ridiculous. 4. This quote is a classic example of Chuck Norris humor, based on exaggeration and impossibility. In mathematics, infinity is not a number you can actually reach or count to. It represents something endless. The joke suggests that Chuck Norris is so powerful and extraordinary that he can do the impossible. Not only reach infinity, but even do it twice. This absurd idea creates humor by breaking logical rules and presenting him as someone beyond all limits. In essence, the fun comes from turning a concept that is infinite and unreachable into something casual and achievable for Chuck Norris, reinforcing the legendary, over-the-top image that defines these jokes. 5. This quote is another classic Chuck Norris joke built on exaggeration and irony. It suggests something never yan, that Chuck Norris tears have the power to cure serious diseases like cancer. This already presents him as almost superhuman. However, the second part, too bad he has never cried, adds the twist that makes the joke funny. It implies that he is so tough, strong, and emotionless that he has never cried in his life. As a result, this incredible cure is never available. The humor comes from the contrast between something extremely powerful and something impossible happening at the same time. In essence, the joke reinforces the legendary image of Chuck Norris as invincible and beyond normal human emotions, using exaggeration and irony to create a memorable and funny effect. 6. This quote is a clever twist on the common phrase, near-death experience, where someone comes close to dying. The joke flips the idea, suggesting that instead of people fearing death, death itself once came close to encountering Chuck Norris, and that was the dangerous situation. The humor comes from reversing roles and exaggerating Chuck Norris's toughness to an extreme level. It implies that he is so powerful and unstoppable that even death is afraid of him. By turning death into something that can feel fear, the joke creates a funny and absurd image. In essence, the quote plays with language and expectations, reinforcing the legendary, over-the-top persona of Chuck Norris as someone who is beyond even the ultimate limit, death itself. 7. This quote is another classic Chuck Norris joke, built on exaggeration and absurdity. Normally, people read books to gain knowledge, which takes time, focus, and effort. However, the joke suggests that Chuck Norris is so powerful that he doesn't need to read at all. He can simply stare at a book and somehow extract the information directly. The humor comes from turning a normal intellectual activity into something almost supernatural. It implies that Chuck Norris has control not only over physical reality, but also over knowledge itself. In essence, the joke plays with the idea that nothing requires effort for Chuck Norris. Even learning becomes instant and effortless, reinforcing his exaggerated legendary image as someone who surpasses all normal human limits. 8. This quote is a classic Chuck Norris joke built on exaggeration and absurdity. A shadow is not a real opponent. It has no physical form and cannot fight back. Under normal circumstances, fighting your own shadow would be impossible and meaningless. The humor comes from the idea that Chuck Norris is so powerful that he can defeat even something intangible and non-existent. It suggests that his strength goes beyond physical limits and into the realm of the impossible. In essence, the joke exaggerates his abilities to a ridiculous level, reinforcing the legendary image of Chuck Norris as someone who can overcome absolutely anything, even his own shadow. 9. This quote is a classic Chuck Norris joke based on exaggeration and absurdity. Normally, people rely on watches or clocks to tell the time. The joke suggests that Chuck Norris is so powerful and authoritative that he doesn't need any external tool. He can simply decide the time himself. The humor comes from turning a mundane, everyday fact into something extraordinary. By implying that he controls time itself, the joke exaggerates his abilities to a comically impossible level. In essence, the joke reinforces the legendary, over-the-top image of Chuck Norris as someone who surpasses normal human limitations, even bending reality to his will. 10. This quote is a classic Chuck Norris joke built on exaggeration and absurdity. Normally, if someone is late, time simply continues. People must adjust. The joke flips this idea, suggesting that Chuck Norris is so powerful that even time itself must accommodate him. The humor comes from imagining time as a living entity that can be commanded or intimidated. It exaggerates Chuck Norris's abilities to a comically impossible level, portraying him as literally above the laws of nature. In essence, the joke reinforces his legendary, over-the-top persona. Not only is he unstoppable, but reality itself bends to his presence. Which Chuck Norris quote shocked you the most? Comment below. If you love this video, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more legendary content. See you in the next one.